Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is an ecstatic Mike Kegley after an incredible finish to an Illini game that is, Ked, how do you describe that?
I was already prepared to to say what was going to happen while they lost, and Pat Bryant and Luke Altmaier just came through at clutch. But I was telling people with a minute to go in the offense, I was confident Barry Lundy Jr. was going to dial up the right play. They just had to protect Luke. That was the only thing. They would at least had a chance at a field goal. But the way that ended, you couldn't have scripted it any better.
Yeah, I was. It was just incredible to see. Just one of those things that I got to be honest with you. You got to give this Illini team credit. They don't tend to ever give up, and they keep fighting until the end. And this was a great example of that. We're not going to take too much time here, folks. We know there's people who are switching over to Big Ten Plus to watch the basketball team play. A couple things, Ked. I was frustrated as the game was going on because Illinois had given up a ton of penalties and the miss extra point. I felt like they gave the game to Rutgers, and then this happens.
They did, Mike. They gave the game to Rutgers, but at the end of the day, winning teams with winning records make winning plays, and they did that. This was just a loss, and it was one of those typical losses that I always complain about, that Illinois does Illinois things. And to be honest with you, for our Illini Guys company, there was probably 12 of us. We do our annual picks. I was the only guy, the only loser to pick against Illinois, because I thought that was going to happen. So kudos to the staff. They have 8 wins. Go take care of business at Northwestern. What a great season. And I'm really happy for this group in general. This means so much to the program on so many different levels.
Yeah, I have to be honest. This was just an incredible come from behind victory. And I really felt like Luke didn't have his best stuff in terms of throwing today, but goodness gracious, did he show up with his legs at key times. And I gotta be I've not been a fan of Kaliakmanis, but I will tell you, he showed up big as well. Illinois played a healthier Rutgers team. I really thought this was going to be a challenge on the road. I thought it would be close. I did not think it would require a score in the last 4 seconds, but I thought the Illini would win. But I thought it was just a fantastic thing. Here's the frustration I had. It seems like when on the pass rush, Illinois is consistently losing contain on the right on the defensive end that's over the right tackle, and the guys, it doesn't matter who it is, seem to get too deep.
He's been awful. Sorry, Mike. Yeah. He's been awful.
Yeah, and it's just been devastating, and so I thought that was rough. But I did think the other thing is I thought Illinois ran the ball really well. I think they're starting to look like that offensive line that we expected. Luke only got sacked at the very end of the game. And rushing wise, Illinois was starting to run the ball a little better, and then Altmaier went crazy.
Here's what I'm concerned about for the long aspect of the game. Illinois tried to get pressure to the Rutgers quarterback. They tried. They just didn't. They weren't successful. And to me, I look at this game, it was one in the trenches. Rutgers had all the time in the world to throw the football today, and it's just for some reason they couldn't get a hold of him. They couldn't get to him. And I've always said, I shouldn't have mentioned names, but the right tackle was just awful today, and the play was awful, and you cannot continue to make those mistakes. I mean, they really exposed them one time when they showed just a lack of athleticism to be able to block in the end. Mike, that's not good, and so that's something that they're really going to have to fix if they want to sustain to get to where they want to go, because you cannot continue to do that, at least in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that was my thought as well. I think overall the Illinois defense showed up when they had to. Again, Rutgers is a better team. It was one that you and I and Brad were higher on than a lot of people. And I think had they not had the injuries, I think they would have come into this with a significantly better record. They had a nice schedule, but that got torn apart by, again, the injuries. I thought Illinois played a much better, a much more inspired second half, scoring 29 of their 38 points in the second half. And Ked, if you would have told me at the start of the season that Illinois would have a shot to win 9 games in the regular season, I would have laughed at you.
I know, but again, I was the one guy that picked 7 or 8. And I'm sitting here saying that, and then I was the one guy who picked them to lose today. So,
well, and I do think this really was. I thought Bryant was incredible. The first game, I think, in ages that Franklin hasn't caught a pass. Got a couple on the bounce, got a couple out of bounds. But boy, Pat Bryant, if I don't know, I haven't seen many things that scream NFL the way that performance did today.
Mike, just real quick here, Pat Bryant, 197 yards, 64 yards long, 131 yards after the catch. Just impressive. And you knew, everybody in the stadium who knew anything about football knew if you were passing the ball, who was going to go get it. You talked about Luke not having his best stuff. I was kind of critical of him at first, but you know what? The win today was brutal. A lot of those balls hung up in the air for both quarterbacks, not just Luke. It hung up in the air, which made it tougher for some of those catches. But I tell you, if you're an NFL guy, and we know how the pros look at different things, that kid has just been remarkable for Illinois all season. I hope he's a first-team All-Big Ten with those kind of numbers. Just sure-handed guy. And every time, all season long, he and Zachary Franklin have just come a plug. That's why with 1 minute and 8 seconds on the clock, I said it again, I was not panicking because I felt that if they could protect him, they would get open and they would make plays. And Barry Lunny's offense play calling to me was great today. The one thing real quick, I've really, really been paying attention to this. Illinois struggles because they can't get 4 or 5 yards on first down, Mike. They're always in second and long and third and long. If they could somehow get 4 or 5 yards, I don't care whether it's passing or running, I think they'll score more points, but their running game, they just don't do that. And that's what costs them, to me, points early in the season, earlier in the game, and sometimes later in the game.
Yeah, and just to throw it out to you, with 197 yards of receiving today, that would put him the new number 7 on the single game receiving yardage for Illinois, falling in behind Isaiah Williams and Mike Dudek, who are tied at number 5 with 200 yards. So a heck of a game here. Of course, we saw just almost a year, last year in November 25th, Casey Washington had 218 yards. So we got to see another incredible performance here today. Folks, we don't want to compete too much against the Illini basketball game. We will. We just wanted to put some of these highlights out there. We're going to go through, get a few comments here before we break. And okay, so let's go a couple things here. Did they skip the post-game conference? There will be a post-game conference. Matt and I will be on. We haven't made the decision. We might go live, and I hate to do that, but we're watching the Illini basketball game out of one eye. And then we will have a live with Brad Sturdy and Ked after the basketball game, which we will probably have bleed over into football topic as well. So be looking for a tweet from Ked, Brad, or myself to see exactly how we lay that up. But we don't want to compete right now against that. We have that. And of course, the key is, folks, if you want to stay up to date, if you follow any one of us, you should follow all of us at Mike Kegley, at KedPrince4, at Sturdy32. If you're sitting around somewhere and you're watching this or you're listening, just go ahead on your Twitter and at Mike, Cagley, or at KedPrince4 or at Sturdy32. put it in there and give us a follow. But you can see later on today how we will do this. This was a huge thing because Illinois now has opportunity. They still can get 10 wins this season, and that is a tremendous opportunity. They got to go beat Northwestern. That's not an easy thing to do, but it's something they need to do. And then have an opportunity in a bowl game to show an Old Miss or somebody like that football up north is tougher than what they think. Ked, any final thoughts here before you and I talk later on this afternoon after the basketball game?
What an exciting day. I'm just really, really excited for the university and the football family altogether. The way that game ended was just, it doesn't happen in Illinois very often. It was just nice to see.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. So that's our really brief instant take, folks. Thank you so much for listening. See us out on Twitter. And, of course, you guys can go to IlliniGuys.com. And if you go there, 27 cents a day. I would really encourage you to get involved, being part of that community and being on the message boards and talking with a boatload of Illini fans from across the country and across the world. And you can talk to Ked, Brad, Larry, Matt, and myself. Until right now, go Illini.